Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 3 of Thursday Night Throwdown, the webisode. As you can tell, I'm kind of new at the video editing. This is my third video that I've ever edited, period. I have lots of podcasts underneath my belt, but this was my first foray into the video editing. So the first couple are going to be a little choppy as they've been, but I've already learned so much just in the first 3 attempts. So I'm hoping that this one will be the culmination of everything I've learned up until now, that it'll be the best version. The quality is still going to be a little low. I am unfortunately unable to currently record in high def while I broadcast on Twitch TV. I'm hoping to change that though. We have 4 sessions though recorded, so that's maybe like 20 episodes. The first 20 episodes are going to be in low def, first 20-25 as to say, and then I'm hoping to go into high def for the broadcasting and recording. As mentioned, we do broadcast on Twitch, so my internet just isn't good enough. I'm hoping to upgrade. But before I start to ramble on, we should just get into the episode. Where we left off, the group had kind of split up, or were split up, with Dominic already being in the town of Maplecrest, and Rogar and Thaddeus have just met Yorick. But we'll jump into the episode.
What is in Maplecrest?
Well, it's really more what was with Maplecrest, which is children. But apparently they are no longer there. So we're going to go figure out why.
Sounds as good a starting place as any.
Okay, now that Thaddeus is done talking to the giant minotaur, I'll step forward and extend my hand and introduce myself as Rogar of the family Cermak of the clan Redblade.
I'll shake his hand and just say again, I'm Yorick, out from the Plain of Sorrow. Families, not so important. I've been on my own most of my life, but good to meet you.
And just for
Likewise.
the listeners, as well as some of our players, the Plain of Sorrows is... It got its name, the Plain of Sorrows, for a reason. Like, it's not like a walk in the park. It is quite brutal. There are many legends on how, like, these unbelievably powerful creatures roam it, that there's, like, devils and demons and undead, and it has been the Minotaur kind of like home area for the last 80, 90 years. So, like, to be able to survive in the Plains of Sorrow, let alone traverse it, that's like as impressive as being a Van Hasselhoff kind of deal.
Speaking of which, as Rogar introduces himself to Jorik, I will be tweaking the corners of my mustache and looking disinterested.
You're really looking to get punched later on?
Well, he's the party healer. See, that's why he made this persona, because we can't punch him. He won't heal us then.
I'll take that chance.
He's already cleaned his monocle, and now he's kind of fiddled with his mustache. That's like 2
He needs
out
to
of the
polish
3.
his pipe still.
Yes, and then he will have all 3 like wealthy man like motifs down.
I thought I
me,
marked that guy.
Soon I'm gonna be putting my thumbs in the arms of my vest. You know, almost like an old plantation owner, just kind of admiring his field.
You guys should have suspenders.
You go straight to the plantation motif now that there's a minotaur around again, falling back into your slave owner instincts.
Whoa. Von Hasselhoff has never owned slaves. We freed our slaves before it was cool.
I thought you said you never owned them.
Yeah, that's
just
what I
borrowed them.
They were what do you call them? Indentured servants. Yeah, that's it.
Indentured from birth.
Well, you know, it costs a lot of money to pay for a doctor. Minotaurs don't have that kind of cash.
Yeah. Honestly, let's
Because
be
they were
real here.
slaves.
Minotaurs do a lot of work for a lot cheaper than humans will. And humans are lazy, they don't work as hard as Minotaurs. I mean, it's really economics.
Slavery
I warn you
101
now.
by Thaddeus von Hasselhoff.
Yeah. Already the first... Ooh. first episode, and we've already covered such awesome topics as slavery. And apparently, the finer points of home ownership when you gain a home after killing the original owners. And potentially taking his wife.
Well, this is just standard adventuring topics.
When Thaddeus was a young man, he wrote a book about how to maintain and establish a proper household, and I'm beginning to think that Reese has read that book. He clearly knows what he's doing.
Did he skip the Minotaur
except for
slave
evicting, he murders.
You're evicting them from life.
Same difference. Just.
But if Jork doesn't have anything he wants to do in town before we leave, I say we head to Maplecrest.
No, he's good with continuing on. He's a hardy fellow. He's used to traveling a lot.
Mm.
Oh, and I'll explain to Jork that if he wants, there's a continental breakfast down the way that is extraordinary.
Yeah, he doesn't really trust you yet, so he's going to eat his own food. He doesn't trust people who do the villain mustache tweak while sitting there in the background.
Whoa. It is not villainous to have a mustache. I will not be vilified for my mustache. It is proper.
Right, but that picture makes it sound like you have a handlebar stash or something.
I definitely do.
Yeah,
it definitely ends in 2 big curls. And it's accompanied by a goatee.
See, I was thinking more thin pencil moustache with the French twirls on the end.
So you almost have like the Colonel Sanders, like?
Exactly, except it's black. It's like jet black. But it's very like Colonel Sanders.
At least you're staying true to the slavery motif.
I am Southern aristocracy at its best, okay?
Yep.
Aren't you Northern aristocracy?
In Norian, it's actually reversed. The North is more like the South, and the South is more like the...
Which is strangely accurate. I don't know how he knew that, but that is a good way to look at it. Yeah, that's...
Well, he's already told us how this
Every now and then,
ends.
when I talk out of my ass, it actually is accurate.
Or maybe he's
Every
just
now-
peeking at your notes.
Statistics.
But if you guys have nothing else pressing, we'll just continue on. The first 2 days come and go with no problems whatsoever. While traveling along the frequently used Franders Road, the traffic you have encountered has been light. But you still take the normal precautions and set up watches for the nights. On the second day, you enter the confines of the Maple Crest Forest. It's a beautiful sight to behold, the thick trees reaching high into the air with leaves the size of a man's head or bigger. Like, some of their leaves are as big as, like, Yorick's head. Maple Crest syrup is, of course, a delicacy sought out by many in order to augment their breakfast experience. To see the trees that produce it in the thick spigots puncturing their form, you start to consider the variety of food that you will taste while helping out the town. On the third day, you finally leave the forest, the farms surrounding the town coming into view, fields of wheat, corn, and other various vegetables stretching out for as far as the eye can see. In the background are the Craigland Mountains. They loom and threaten to cast a permanent shadow over the town. An hour later finds you cresting a hill, the blue waters of the lake coming into view as well as the town itself. Even from where you are, you can feel the serene sensation creeping up over you. Reaching the edge of the town, you're greeted by a series of glances and curt nods from the villagers as they continue their daily routine. So on the map here, you guys would be coming down from, like, down here.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll just follow Thaddeus wherever he goes, basically.
Thaddeus is going to be looking to speak with... let's look at the map here. I guess I would say that he'd be looking to speak of who's in charge of the town, but since Avandra commissioned him to do that, can I see the Church of Avandra from where we are?
You can. I also forgot to mention that Gregory Ginders, the young lad that had been sent to Dulcan, had been with you, and he...
Suddenly appears from thin air.
Well, no, I just
Gregory.
I kind of
do
skipped
that.
over that while reading.
You startled me. Whoa.
Because I don't know how to read. But you do see the Temple of Avandra, which I believe is number 5. So that's right here. But speaking to the person in charge, Gregory is kind of motioning you forward towards the town square, mentioning that you should speak to the mayor.
Do you know the way to the mayor's house, Gregory, or where we might find this mayor?
He
Do you
kind
mind if I call you Greg?
he has no
I
problem
don't
with
really
you.
like words that end in Ori.
He has no problems with you calling him Greg, and nods emphatically when you ask if he knows the way to the mayor's house.
All right, good old Greg, lead the way.
So he leads you down into the marketplace, and you guys also see this giant, like, well that's in the middle of it, 20-25 feet in diameter. Like, it's easy to spot and is quite huge. And it kind of leads you to the left and brings you towards the largest house in the square. Stone blocks comprising the first floor, while the upper two are comprised purely from wood. He steps up to the old oak door and then raps his hand against it several times before waiting patiently. When the door opens up, you stand before a slim, elderly man, 50 winters or more under his belt. Looking from Gregory to, your members, he smiles a little before stepping back and motioning you in with a slow sweep of his hand. Please, step in. You have traveled far, and there is much to discuss.
I'll try to stomp the mud off my boots before going in.
I will walk in. Good day, Sir Mayor, or who I assume to be the mayor, if Greg really knows where he's going. But my name is, if I really need to introduce myself, if you didn't already know, I'm Thaddeus von Hasselhoff. These two here are my associates. This is Rogar of the Red Valley people, and this is Jorik.
Hold my hand up. That's Red Blade.
Them too. And this is Jorik. He's pretty cool.
The man introduces himself and says, "My name is Duncan Lorendav, Mayor of Maple Crest." And I'll type that name. And as you guys all step into his house, you notice that it is rather neat and tidy looking, and the smell of sweet tea flutters to your nose. He kind of leads you into a parlor, at which he motions for you guys to sit down on several chairs and a love seat, and says, "I just boiled some water. Would anyone care for some sweet tea?"
I will raise my hand as if to wave it away, to pass on it.
Well, you can refuse his hospitality, but I'm not that rude, so I'll nod my head and thank him, actually.
Yeah, York's gonna politely decline.
Alright, so he steps into the kitchen, and you can hear him rattling around with some stuff, getting tea cups down and whatnot. And the parlor in which you sit is rather nice looking. It has some bookshelves that are just filled with books. There's a couple of animal heads on the wall. It's like a deer. There's like a stuffed fox, kind of normal stuff you'd expect to see in a mayor's house. And he finally returns with 2 teacups on saucers, hands one to Jorik, and the teacup, of course, looks... Or it's not Jorik, sorry, to Rogar. And the teacup, of course, looks incredibly tiny in his hand. But he, starts to drink from it and kind of takes a sip or two and says, "As you no doubt have heard from Gregory, a terrible blight has descended our peaceful town. For over a month now, children have been going missing. Their numbers have reached 26 after last night's abduction. Some days we only lose one. On others, and his eyes kind of slip to the floor as his face becomes heavy with emotions, sadness and frustration moving to the full front. We've looked everywhere, checked every nook, cranny, and dark space in the town. When that was done, we moved to checking around the lake and in the forest, yet we could not find hide nor hair of the children. Their families have become desperate, searching for all hours of the day. They press further into the forest and towards the mountains. Some are attacked by the creatures that dwell within those areas. Others don't make it back. We are at the end of our ropes, and the hope that you will be able to provide us... Sorry, we are at the end of our ropes, and hope you will be able to provide us with the solace that we seek. At least some hope that whatever force is out there will be put to rest.
Can I ask you a few questions about Duncan?
Sure.
Just to see what I've perceived from him since I've walked in.
Okay.
First question. Did his house look like it has a basement somewhere?
Yes.
Okay, second question. Does he have like a light or very thin mustache accompanied by like very pale complexion or like a creepy haircut?
No, he is completely clean shaven. He has rosy cheeks. And except for when he was, talking about the children going missing and the heavy emotions settling over him, he seems rather full of life and vigor.
Does he appear to live alone? Does he seem to have a family? Does he have large amounts of candy randomly?
And a black van with no windows.
Yeah.
Is he paterno-ish?
He does not seem to have any family that lives with him, although there are several pictures that depict people in it, and one of them, like, in every picture, one of them kind of looks like it might be him, albeit, younger version. And in those pictures, I mean, he has quite the family.
I'm just saying, this is a darker world. Maybe our first foe is a pedophile. We might just go there right off the bat.
Is there any like military paraphernalia around the room, like service weapons on a stand or medals or something to show that he may have served during the war?
There is a sword and shield kind of hung up as if it were a mantle, and it's just a light shield and a long sword. But, I mean, just from the looks of them, it doesn't seem like they've been taken down in many, many moons.
Mm.
So if he did serve, like, in the war, it was even before, like, Thaddeus or even Rogar did.
Mm. Okay, then.
This guy is, like I said, he's at least 50 to 60, so if he did serve in the war, he's probably been out for a good 20 years.
Mm.
So I will say to Duncan, well, we were sent... what was the father's name from Dolkin?
Father Holmvik?
Father Holmvik. We were sent by Father Holmvik from the Church of Avandra in Dolkin to investigate this matter. What I am curious about, as I know so far that this has been ongoing for about a month now, is the time that this takes place. Do the children go missing in the night? Does it vary? Is it? I understand that these kids seem to just vanish, but there has to be some pattern.
He sits down and drinks more of his tea and says, "I wish it was that simple. The children have gone missing at all hours. Some are taken while they are out playing. Others are snatched from their beds."
Children very rarely play alone. Oftentimes they play with other children. Are these children being being taken one at a time, or are they taken in groups? I don't understand how a child could go missing in your village in broad daylight without any witnesses.
He says some days they are taken in groups, others they are plucked one at a time.
I pipe up. Has there been any pattern with the gender or ages of the children?
No, the only pattern we can establish is that they are 4 years to 12.
And in the last month, the only thing that has changed within the town is that children have gone missing, or even nearby. Is there anything unnatural happening in a region near the town that wasn't the way it was a month ago? As the only thing that's changed is these children going missing?
Yes, it seems rather odd. There's been no harrowing tale or dark energies that have been washing over our town. It's as perplexing as it is mysterious.
When was the last child taken?
Last night.
Whose child was it?
His name was Harland Callop.
Harlan?
Yeah, I'll write that.
Where might we find this Harlan?
Harland
isn't
was
that the question?
Harland is the name of the child that went missing.
Oh no, I was asking for the parents' names.
The parents' name would be Damara Callop, which is his mother, and Olimvar Callop, his father.
Okay, so where might I find Omvar?
Olimvar has gone looking for his son. Damara waits patiently at home, hoping that he may return.
And where is Damara's house located?
He proceeds to, give you directions to the location of the house.
Well, before we investigate the matter further with the rest of the town, to be honest, quite honest with you, Mayor, you haven't really given me anything helpful. There seem to be no leads at all in this case, which is acceptable if that is in fact the case, but you aren't withholding any information from me at all.
What purpose would I have to withhold information? Each child that is taken is a travesty upon itself. To see the families left behind broken, saddened by their loss, not knowing whether their loved ones are alive or dead, it is almost unbearable to watch for any man, whether they be cold-hearted or friendly.
Do you have children, Duncan?
His face seems to go, even sadder than it had been. He says, "No, not anymore."
I want to do an insight check and see if I believe that he's been completely honest with me this whole time.
Sure.
I'm sure he's been real honest with me.
Yeah. As far as you can tell, he has been 100% truthful. In fact, with that last statement, you feel that you kind of have an inkling as to why he no longer has children.
Which is why he's kidnapped all the kids in town, replaced the children that he no longer has.
Yep.
Called it. I called the end of the movie at the beginning.
Quest solved. Should we
All
get to
right,
level up
moving
now?
on till next week.
I don't. I mean, do you guys want to ask him anything else? He's not really given up a whole lot, other than kids are gone. Yay.
No, it seems like we basically have to talk to Damara as probably our next stop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Well, at that point, I will kind of bid him adieu and leave unceremoniously.
I
And
will
abrupt.
thank him for the tea, and tell him that we'll do our best to get to the bottom of this.
He nods and wishes you three to... Well, he wishes you good luck, although it seems like he still is somewhat saddened by the previous topic.
Mm.
But I'm assuming you guys are going to the Callip House?
Yep.
Yes.
All right. This is actually a good spot for us to take a quick little 5-minute break. So, we're going to take a quick little 5-minute break, freshen up drinks, and then we'll come back.
Okay then. I'll go make some coffee. Because if I stop having coffee, I'll die.
Like that. Don't save. All right. I pushed the wrong button. All right. Make sure that worked. Excellent. Before we continue on with the group of three, we'll jump back to Reese.
The proud house owner.
So after taking about an hour or two to go through these books, nothing really seems to jump out at you. There's no mention of people getting kidnapped or disappearing in the books. There was a mention of like skirmishes with goblins and kobolds and some other monstrous humanoids. There's also tales about people fighting stranger things in the Harrowsdale Bog, which apparently is just several hours outside of town. But other than that, there's not much.
Okay, so I guess I would like to take a look around their kid's room, I suppose.
Aha! So you're the person stealing the kids.
The kids already stole.
That's how good he is.
Snooping around kids' rooms, though.
Yeah, that'll look bad though. Oh yeah, go to here, you know, see what's going on. Strange man in a kid's room.
Is there anything in particular that you're looking for?
Well, being a person that I am, of roguish sorts, I should be fairly well versed in, B&E type stuff. So, I'd like to take a look for some signs. I guess of that first and foremost. Like if the window's been tampered with, or if there's any locks or anything like that that may have been tampered with, or.
All right. I'll have you make me a perception check, please.
11.
You do not notice any locks that have been tampered with. It doesn't seem like the window has been forced open or anything like that.
Does it look like there's been anything that's been rummaged through, like like a dresser or a closet or even a toy chest.
The only thing that would look like it's been disturbed the last couple of days is kind of like on the side that you're facing of the bed, underneath it. It looks like some of the dust has been pushed away.
Something underneath the bed. Mildly disturbing. Alright, well, I would like to take a closer look. I think... Since I kind of want to take a closer look, I guess, at, I don't know, the dust or something, so I'm really not sure what just looking under a bed will get me. I'd like to move the bed, or perhaps the mattress, like if I can see through the bed. I don't want to disturb as much as possible, so if I can just like kind of pull off any bedding.
Yeah, it looks like that if you lifted up the mattress, you'd definitely be able to see underneath the bed.
Alright, I'll do that then, instead of risking disturbing much more.
Okay, so you kind of lift the mattress up, and you can see that there's, the actual bed has large gaps where the planks are. And just from where you're standing, you notice that the dust that has been disturbed is more like on the outs, like on the side that you're facing as you're lifting up this mattress, and isn't so much located underneath the bed, but almost looks like something was kind of like on the outside, kind of reaching underneath it. But not that far. It doesn't really extend that far underneath the bed. Like, I mean, underneath the bed, you still find a somewhat thick layer of dust.
So it looks like something was reaching underneath the bed, or perhaps from underneath the bed?
Given the smudges and scuffles, it seems more likely that someone was reaching under the bed. And once again, not that far under the bed. Just like...
Right. What about the bed and sheets, like the bedding and whatnot itself? Is there like any traces of blood or anything like that?
There are no traces of blood, but you do find some black specks, small black, well, I shouldn't say specks, but black particles.
Is there any way that I could maybe, like, I don't know, collect enough to be useful, like for someone to identify?
Yeah, I mean, I use particles because I really don't know how else to describe this, but it looks like something was like crumpled, or not crumpled, but like something really brittle was cracked into pieces, and that's what you're finding. You can definitely scoop up enough, and I mean, even as you're scooping it, you felt this texture before, and it almost seems like as you're kind of like scooping it up, like it starts to kind of take shape as you're kind of like piecing it together with a pole, and it seems like a leaf.
Okay. Do the particles perhaps look like the dry, semi-crushed, 7-petaled black flower with the red center that I found in the book?
Yes, you would say that it does.
Okay, so the leaf does seem to be, well, perhaps a little bit more related anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you're finding a piece of it, and it's kind of like in with the sheets. It doesn't look like it was just on top. It seems like it got in there and was missed by whoever.
Yeah, I probably didn't notice. Okay, so it seems like this might be the best place to start. So, given that, if I'm hungry and there's actually fresh food in the house, then I will help myself. After that, or otherwise, if there isn't any fresh food, then I will, I guess, go back out to the market and maybe, I guess I'll look for someone that is perhaps selling herbs, barring that, something with, like, alchemy.
The closest thing you can find to fresh food in this house currently is some bread that isn't like super stale, and some cheese.
So they had no, like, fruits or vegetables, or...
They did, but it seems like they have gone past their prime.
And they've only supposedly been gone for a week?
Yep.
Okay. Possible, I suppose. Well, we'll grab a light snack, I suppose, just to keep my energy levels up. And, yeah, go out to find preferably someone that seems to be selling herbs, or maybe even a vendor selling flowers. You know, just someone that has an obvious, you know, idea what plants are, past what I know.
Okay.
Barring that, again, maybe some kind of alchemist or something like that. Somebody selling snake oil probably isn't going to help, so never mind that.
So you fix yourself some, you know, bread and some cheese, and you kind of pick through what fruit isn't like super soft or, you know, like disgusting. Make yourself a little snack, and then head back towards the market. And as you reach the market, you notice stepping out of the building that was described as the mayor's house is a prominent-looking human, whom you immediately recognize as a von Hasselhoff, a Minotaur, and a Dragonborn. And it's at this point I'll have Yorick kind of describe your character, as we really didn't... I don't think we did that yet.